That's like a super popular.
It's like, the rich guy wants to make money.
I do feel bad for the
out of
rich
it.
people that have to deal with these storylines. It's quite tough to
It's exactly the opposite, actually.
Guys, enough
like,
is
I would
enough.
trust a rich guy.
The rich guy has it hard enough.
Over like
all
a
right?
guy. Absolutely.
For once, just
I don't
take
know
it
if it's
easy
a
on
It
him.
depends on the rich guy.
I'm saying, like, I don't know if it's a popular thing to say in the stream, to be honest.
Well, rich girl.
Rich girl, yeah, like rich person, whatever. Like, whatever.
Pocket
gender,
Kings for Ben.
You know, they are.
Crabs for Airball.
No discrimination.
Think about this.
And the wager is 12,000.
There's 2,000 dead, so I can't fold.
Quick call from Nick.
With Doug.
Stone dead.
Today we have a nice, casual, small stakes friendly game at Hustler Casino Live. They're playing 200, 400, no limit, Texas Hold'em, $120,000 deep. Nik Airball and the hijack seat opens it up with pocket threes to $2,000. Over around to Doug Polk with King Jack offsuit on the button. He elects to splash around. And then Ben Lamb, who I don't think we've actually covered a lot on this channel. Ben Lamb is a super crusher. He used to crush the high stakes tournaments all the time. Now he's crushing the high stakes cash games all the time. He opts to 3-bet to $12,000 with pocket kings from the big blind. Perfectly fine, perfectly standard. Notice his size is actually kind of big. That's because he is out of position playing very deep stacked against players, well, at least one player, who may call any amount as long as it's not egregiously big. And I think $12,000 is a very nice size because Nik Airball is going to splash around with all sorts of airballs. So he does go for $12,000. Nik Airball, as expected, calls. And to be fair, calling pocket threes here is actually pretty fine because if you do make a three, you are pretty likely to get paid off. So he calls. Doug Polk recognizes he is horribly dominated and he gets out of the way. Let's go to the flop.
I think I'm rooting for Ben.
Oh,
I appreciate it. I will take the root in general.
Even though you slow rolled me. Maybe I like that a little bit.
A little bit of pain, huh?
But it's, you know, what I
Maybe I
gotta
like
say,
a good
it's fun to
scumbag
sit
like
with a bunch
myself.
of rich people. You know, it's good.
How do you know
Nice.
we're all rich?
Well, you wouldn't be playing here if you weren't, huh?
The flop comes 8 of diamonds, 7 of hearts, 5 of clubs in this video for pokernews.com. And Ben goes for a $17,000 bet, which is fine, certainly reasonable. However, I would say that you have to be a little bit careful betting on these very connected boards, especially when you're out of position, because Nik Airball is actually going to have a whole lot of hands that connect very well here. I'm sure he plays the 6-9. Also, he could reasonably have 8-7 suited, 7-5 suited, 8-5 suited, pocket 8, 7s, 5s. He could have all the nuts. And, very importantly, Ben Lamb probably has almost no nuts in his range. So, when you completely lack the nut advantage, I think checking from out of position is very reasonable. And, especially against someone like Airball, who might just fire it off with all of his bluffs, because he could also have Queen Jack and whatnot, this is a spot where I think checking is probably ideal, but whatever. He goes for the $17,000 bet, which Airball, of course, calls because he has a pair. Let's head to the turn.
That's how I know. That's how it works.
I hope you're ready to be all in by the river.
Once my NFT's pumped, I'll be rich.
The turn is the 9 of clubs, an absolute disaster for Pocket Kings, because now you lose to even more hands that could logically be in Nik Airball's range. So, recognizing the bad news, Ben checks. Let's see how Nik proceeds.
You're rich already. You're rich already.
115.
Okay, trust
Have you ever heard of the Forgotten Room?
How much is in there, do you know?
No,
Not particularly.
All right, I'll do.
Okay, but that's the next big thing. That's the next big thing.
It's gonna be
28,
huge.
and then I'll
Really?
shut the
What is
river.
it called?
Forgotten Room.
Binding
Wizards
Shove?
Cult. Guaranteed hit.
Forgotten Rune.
Wizards.
Wizards.
Cult.
Cult.
Nick decides to turn his hand into a bluff, going for a $28,000 bet, a little bit less than half pot, but certainly a bet that puts Ben's $105,000 stack under a lot of pressure. I actually love this bet a lot. And in the scenario where there is a 4 straight on the board, usually a smallish bet is ideal when you have some number of effective nut hands in your range, but your opponent does not. And that's very likely the case in this scenario. Perhaps Nik Airball could have even gone smaller on the turn and then blasted it all in on the river. Now, Nick says that he will actually be all in on the river if Ben calls this bet.
And then I'll
Really?
shut the
What
river.
is it called?
What I want to know is, do you think this action is binding or not? Do you think that if Ben calls a turn, that Nik Airball must go all in on the river? Take a second, think about it, and write what you think should happen in this comment section. What am I saying? Write what you think should happen in the comment section below.
See, you already.
Forgotten rune wizard's call. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna have
Keep
to
that
be
in mind.
shoved.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
We're gonna have to monitor Terrace and his course lights today.
So if I call this
But
and
if
check,
it's not,
you're all in.
then it's.
Well,
I don't think
whatever.
it's binding,
The thing
but
is, there's nothing
I
more
was asking.
valuable
I
on the
mean, it can be
internet than
binding
digital
if you want to be
pictures,
binding, of course.
in my opinion.
I'll
Seems
tell
like a
you this,
reverse free roll to me.
If you're into NFTs,
I'm into that.
look
At least as far as I know, in 2023, in every single major casino that I've ever played in and that anyone I've ever talked to has played in, if you say you're going to do something on a future betting round, it is absolutely not binding. Even if they agreed very clearly that if Ben calls the turn bet, that Nick will go all in on the river. If Nick looks right at Ben and says it, and Ben says, okay, and then shakes his hand and agrees on the turn, then he calls the turn bet on the river. If Ben checks, Nik Airball is still allowed to check it behind on the river. So don't fall for that angle. Anyway, let's see how Ben proceeds.
This is a private game. You guys agree, it's fine. But if it's a disagreement, the floor will have to come in and make a ruling, all right? So I don't want to. I want to just.
I think me and Ben will be okay.
You know
As long as you guys can agree, we're good.
I think
I know what a random walk is.
We'll find a way to
You wear a
agree.
shirt.
You know, like random walk. Like I actually wore a shirt like the last random walk. That's basically.
good thing and the bad
It's actually
thing
an
about,
interesting
like,
concept.
You
like,
win.
The rules are just
Good.
like
it is
whatever.
applied to finance.
It's like,
You gotta
it's all,
make a
it's
shot.
fine.
Pick one?
People can really
Ben
balance
lays
it
down
down.
the pocket
It's applied to,
kings.
like, a lot of
They're gonna-
different
before it's
Why
gonna
don't you pick
have
one
to
to
rule
start?
in some way, you know.
Oh, he's gonna
He's
show
gonna show
him
them
one.
both.
Oh!
Fall for that. How do you fall for
I mean, I was pretty sure.
Gives him a little bit of the Eric Person right there.
Like, could have ace queen, could have king queen, could have pocket two.
Pocket three, straight up Ben's rear
Like
end.
ace five, it could have. Like,
After much deliberation, Ben lets it go. Nik Airball gives him the bird and scoops a very nice pot. That's gonna get for today. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, click the like and subscribe buttons down below. Click the notification bell. That lets YouTube know that you like me. And if you like me, maybe other people do too. That's a free way to support the channel, and I would appreciate it. Also, if you want another hand lined up from this same session where Nik Airball gets a little bit heated against Conk Dan, Jungle Man, make sure you check it out. Good luck.